Hey everybody. So cold exposure is something that I find extremely fascinating for the benefits that we can derive from it. And I use it quite a bit myself personally, but also with patients. And so I wanted to talk to you just about some of my thoughts on cold exposure and how we can use that for trying to improve just different aspects of your health. And so first off, we always have to give credit to Wim Hof for really bringing a lot of this stuff to light. And then also Brian McKenzie for altering that and adding his own twist onto things. And him and I have had a lot of discussions on these different aspects that we're going to talk about today. And so I just want to make sure that you guys go check them out if you haven't before, and really dive into their stuff. But one of the biggest things that I'm bullish on with cold exposure is being controlled in your response to that cold exposure. This is what I mean by that. If you jump into a cold plunge or step into a cold plunge because you're super scared of it, however you get into it, if you tense up, your breathing becomes shallow and you freak out on the inside, what you're teaching your body is that it's okay and that you should freak out under stressful situations. Because remember that cold exposure, while ice baths and things like that are sometimes touted as these recovery tools, that cold is a huge stress on your body. Your heart rate goes up, your HRV changes, that is a physiological stress. And so if you then freak out in this cold plunge, you are teaching your body to freak out under a major stressor. Conversely, if you slow down your breathing, or you at least try to control your breathing, you relax your muscles and you train yourself to be calm during this external stressful event, then what you're doing is you're ingraining this pattern that allows you to translate this into other areas of your life. And so when you have a spat or a fight with your spouse that is extremely stressful, you can now you've trained your body to be more calm during a situation like that. And so the likely default over time of your nervous system is to be calm during that, which may result in not as extreme of a fight with your spouse. Or if something happens at work, or you're driving down the road and someone cuts you off, all of these different external stresses that life throws at us, your body will now be able to stay more calm during those, because you've been training it in the cold exposure to stay calm during an external stress. Again, conversely, if you don't do that, then you may be more likely to have the opposite reaction, where you've taught your body to freak out during stressful situations. And so that might occur underneath when you are in that fight with your spouse, or something that happened at work or on the highway or something like that. So that's one aspect of cold exposure that I really hammer home with patients. The other is just the act of doing cold exposure. And so it takes a lot of willpower to get into 35 to 40 degree Fahrenheit water, ice water. And the way that I look at this with patients is that when you can work up the courage, and you can over time build up on that courage, even if that means that the first time you do this ice plunge, you just put your feet in. Then the next time it's up to your knees, and then your waist, and then your chest, and then all the way shoulders up to the neck. Doing that is going to help the mental side of the equation when you are trying to implement other things in life. And so if you then go and you decide you want to start exercising more, you now have a stronger mental capacity to do something and stick to it, because you have gotten through the onboarding process of getting into a cold plunge. And so it's training that mental aspect. If you get into the cold plunge and you quit, that ingrains quitting when things get hard. And so if you can power through that mental side of the equation, then that's going to help to translate when a specific nutritional approach gets hard, or when meditating or doing nasal breathing protocols gets difficult, in the sense that you don't feel like you have time. And so you'll be less likely to quit if you have gone through this this aspect of cold exposure. So that's really why I like cold exposure. Again, recap: one, it helps to train our nervous system to not freak out during stressful situations. And remember, those stressful situations are thrown at us every single day. And the other is that it builds mental fortitude and willpower, which will translate into other areas of your life. If you guys have done any cold exposure, experienced anything like that, I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and I will see you later.